Hello everyone, today I have a comparison video for two Kaweco Sports. This one is a vintage Kaweco Sport from, I believe, the 1950s, and this is a modern Kaweco Sport that was perhaps made in this year. Okay, so here are the two Kaweco Sports. As you can see, they are very similar in design, not a whole lot has changed. However, the modern Kaweco Sport is definitely a bit larger, and that is predominantly in the cap itself. The bodies are pretty similar in size still, and the materials used are very similar, and I wouldn't be surprised if the plastics used were not that much different, honestly. So the vintage one I found on eBay. I think it came out of Croatia. I believe that it was made in the 1950s. The biggest difference between these two is that this is a piston filler with a 14 karat gold nib, and this is, watch it roll away, goodbye, a cartridge or cartridge converter fountain pen with a steel nib that is just plated in a gold coloring material. Both of the caps have engraved Kaweco Sports on the side. However, in the modern fountain pen, it is filled in gold, and the finials are still very much the same, with the modern one being slightly larger. Now, because this is a piston filler, there is a little window, ink window here. It's hard to see when it's filled up with ink, but it's there. This back here actually is the piston knob, and that is how you fill the pen. Neither of them came with clips, although with the modern one you can buy an additional clip accessory if you like, if you prefer that, and I can show you actually on my Kaweco Brass Sport. This is the bronze clip. There's different styles and different materials. It will not fit the vintage one though. Something to keep in mind with the vintage version of this pen is due to its more demure size and clipless nature, it will potentially fall through your pen loop. However, you can lock it into place with your elastic if you have one, and that seems to keep it pretty secure. Now, the vintage Kaweco Sport has the little gold bands on either end, which is probably pretty obvious to you, and it also says V16 and EF for extra fine engraved on the back of the body. Whereas on the modern, it has this kind of textured back end here, and it also says something. It says made in Germany. And now for a little writing sample. First, the vintage fountain pen. This one is definitely a little bit more charming and delicate. It's not as bulky as the modern Kaweco Sports, which is primarily because of the cap. And I just think the nib itself has a little bit more personality, has a little spring to the gold. Although it is just a tad bit scratchier. That could be because the tines are misaligned, and it could be because there's not much tipping material, or it could be because it's also an extra fine. The modern steel is much stiffer. It doesn't have any spring to the nib, but it is still a smooth writer. And with a little micro mesh, it could be, I think, feel kind of like butter on the paper. And that's it. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you all for watching.